y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Full Circle Podcast. I'm Mariah. I'm here with my girl, Lexie. Lexie, how are you
Hey,
doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? We had a great weekend of women's hoops.
I
It was
know.
very
For
exciting
those who are
times.
just now tuning in, me and Lexie have like so much to get into today. So if this is your first impression of us, wow,
You're
good
welcome.
luck.
You're welcome.
Lexie, for starters, give us your analysis of the weekend.
Well, we're gonna first shout out Duke women's basketball for making it to the Sweet 16. Like I knew they would. They had a very interesting game against Oregon. Very low scoring, like they typically have, but their defense was insane, and that's their bread and butter is their defense. So I'm really happy that they were able to hang their hat on that and get to the round of 16. Who else had a fun little game this weekend? I mean, all the games, like I know last episode I said that these first weekend games can be unwatchable at times. This probably has been like the most competitive top to bottom first weekend games I've seen in a while. So that was really exciting for me to watch and seeing the talent being spread out more. And I think that's been fun. My TCU team made it to the Sweet 16. Um,
You only got a couple more games to be right.
Man, no, no, no. They're going all the way to the Final Four, Mariah. I'm telling you they are. Special shout out to Kansas State, Ole Miss with the upsets. On the road too. It's hard to upset teams in the tournament at their home court. So shout out to them. The team that I was most impressed with though this weekend was probably Tennessee though. They're really fun to watch. They shoot a lot of threes. And they just don't look like the Tennessee teams that we like grew up watching. Like they're just their tempo, their pace, everything is like it's very SEC, but like Tennessee used to be like they were like the bougie team in the SEC, like the cutesy team. And now they're like just running through everybody and they're really exciting. They press full court the entire game, which I haven't seen that in a college team in a minute. I think they forced Ohio State into 23 turnovers. And then they went 10 for 34 from three. So overall, top to bottom, Tennessee looked the most impressive to me visually. So it was a great weekend. It's been a great weekend of women's hoops. And I'm sorry to the men's tournament that is very boring right now because it
Ugh.
is. It's so boring. It's
Ugh.
there was no crazy upsets. I think there was like one or two buzzer beaters. So shout out to the women holding
I
it down.
I peeked in and then I went and watched Temptation Island. I was like, yeah,
Not this
mm-mm.
year. Not this year. It's just we always talk about the state of men's college basketball. It's just in shambles at the moment. So I'm hoping that they can like get it together because I do love men's college basketball. The tournament is supposed to be the most exciting time of the year, especially in men's college basketball. So hopefully they can get it together. But the women are holding it down, and there's actually games going on right as we're recording. Texas is beating the crap out of Illinois, and NC State beat the crap out of Michigan State. So congrats to them. Well, prematurely Texas, but yeah, there's one, two, three, four, five. Oh, there's a lot more games today. And I'm going to the USC game tonight.
Oh, that's fun.
I'll
Okay, you
be
going to the
there.
BET
I'm
Awards?
going.
Uh-oh.
I Mariah. That is not how I wanted to segue into this part of the episode, but here we are.
I
We're here
had
now.
to.
We're here now. And yeah, I will be at the BET Awards and I will be dressing to impress because I guess that's what they're doing out here in LA is showing up like an award show. So, Mariah, can you please, for people that are lost about that statement, can we please provide some context to our listeners to why you
Of
call the
course.
USC women's basketball game the BET Awards?
Okay, so if you guys haven't heard already, Holly Rowe, who is a longtime ESPN sideline reporter, like well-renowned in that space and has been doing this for years, was reporting on a USC basketball game this weekend, and Juju Watkins was playing. She's talking about how Juju's such a star, and she's brought the stars out, and then goes on to say that she was at a game last year where USC was playing, and it felt like she was at the BET Awards because all of the culture what'd you say? Oh, all of
The
that community
community.
came out that community came out to watch her, and that Juju is a cultural icon. 3 red flags there. The BET Awards mention. Girl, why can't it be the VMAs? Number 2, the that community mention, and number 3, the culture mention. Come on, Holly.
It was and Holly is my girl. Holly has been such an avid supporter of women's basketball before everyone else was. She's been covering us for years and years and years. So yeah, there was no malicious intent behind that. I hope we want to let make that be known right now. We do not think Holly made any wasn't trying to be mean or anything when she said that. But she has a history of having some mishaps with things that she says, being a little bit tone deaf at times. And for us, as players, as Black women, I think we are we're programmed to just be like, ah, just let it go, just let it go. But no, sometimes I don't want to let it go. And this is one of those times. And Holly, we love you. We love you down, Holly. But you cannot say things like that. For some reason, I feel I don't know why. There's this divisive context and dialogue that is always surrounding women's basketball. And I don't understand why. Why does it have to be this person brings out this group of people and this person has this group of people? Why can't they just bring out basketball fans? Why is everybody having to be categorized? And it only happens in women's basketball. Maybe because I'm not tapped into other sports atmospheres, so I could be incorrect. But between men's basketball and women's basketball, which are the 2 atmospheres I live in, I've only seen this happen in women's basketball, and I don't this is the media coverage that I'm always complaining about. It's dumb, because why can't we just talk about basketball? Because y'all still are not talking about basketball. You're talking about everything else, and I don't it's frustrating, especially for someone like Juju. As the world quickly found out, no, we do not play about Juju. She's niece to the masses. So Black, white, polka dot, yellow, red, everybody loves Juju because everyone loves the way that she plays basketball. So she's actually been able to escape these weird microaggressive conversations, and for some reason they're trying to place those on her right now. And we're stopping that. We're not allowing that, because we saw what happened when they did that to the last group, and it turned into something very nasty. So we can't allow that to happen again.
What I will say is this does come up with people in sports in general, trying to be divisive when it comes to audiences. For example, the first thing that pops into my head is in the NBA, the Celtics fan base's face,
Mhm.
what people assume for them to be like. That comes up a lot, I think, because people like controversy in sports.
Right.
My thing with Holly's particular comment is just you can't ignore how microaggressive it was, because I'm not running around comparing stuff to the BET Awards. I'm a Black person, I don't think about the BET Awards that much.
No.
That was bad. I think that in part, it's because people, "Oh, we're so not used to having celebrity audiences at these games and blah, 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 blah." But I think the BET Awards thing is what makes it inescapable, because it's not like Black people have been, mad at the BET Awards for the last couple
Right,
years.
that's what I was
So
telling
we
my
wouldn't even
mom.
be
I was
yeah.
like, "We don't even like the BET Awards no more, because what even are they now? They're a mess."
Right. So I was like, I don't know. I think Holly just got a little too comfortable. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Got a little excited. And in part, when something like that happens, the sad part is like you were saying, it takes away from anything and everything else that happened during the game, because that was so wild.
And the
So
the awkward silence following that statement was so loud. I got secondhand embarrassment, because I'm like, I know they heard that and they were like, "Oh, well, where do we go from
yeah.
here?" So what now, Holly? What
I've eaten
now?
my words. I've eaten my words 1 or 2 or 3, 7 times. So, I understand how that feels. I hope that they don't attack her too bad. I hope she learns from this. I've never seen her be anything but an ally, so I think that she'll have a good response/apology to this whole situation. It's just I honestly think it's funny. And
No, it
so
was
and
it was
then
hilarious, but I was like I was thinking back from when Deion Sanders and all them got to Colorado. They said I think they said the exact same comment about the Colorado football games, that it looked like the BET Awards. I don't know who said it. I think it might have been like a black person that said it, so that made it a bit more acceptable. But even then, that's still a weird thing to say. Like,
but also, are there
why
not
is
black people
any
at all the other award
and
shows? Why didn't they say the Grammys?
isn't there any other mass gatherings of black people outside the BET Awards?
No, but they can't compare it to any other mass gathering of black people.
Like, is that the only place that black people gather? Is that the BET
Well,
Awards?
I'm trying to think of stereotypically where a white person would think a lot of black people gather, and the first thing that pops in my head, this is so bad, is a basketball game. So I'm like, so why
Or
are
a
they even
sporting
why
event,
is it
right.
shocking? Right, why is it so shocking that I
That
don't
they're
know.
exactly where they should be, at sporting events. But I was like, now that that's come up twice. I'm like, "That's what y'all think of us?" Just anytime any black people of any type of, like, anything, whatever, celebrity
Like
status,
stature, yeah.
we're at the BET Awards.
Beyoncé and Jay-Z don't even go to the BET Awards.
Hello? Talk about it. So, okay, we love you, Holly, though. We love you, Holly, though, but watch your mouth.
While we're being controversial and talking about, like, divisive conversations in women's basketball, I'm curious to hear what you thought about Cam Newton's comments about ratings and
Oh my
rivalries.
gosh. You know what's so crazy? Literally was just talking to my mom on the phone about exactly what he said. I hadn't even seen that clip yet. When I sent it to you, I had like literally just saw it and I was like, "Oh, we got to talk about this." So for those that haven't seen the clip, Cam Newton on his podcast was talking about how basically he was like Juju isn't getting the hype and conversation like Caitlin Clark did because she doesn't have an arch nemesis. He proceeded to call Caitlin Clark the good girl, and he called Angel Reese and Flau'jae Johnson the bad girls, which I stopped listening after that because, huh? What makes them bad girls? Like, because they play hard, because they celebrate hard. Like, I just thought that was an odd thing for him to say. Like, I understood where he was coming from. Like, this is not like he getting canceled off of this. Like, he can't ever talk about women's basketball. But it's just like they basically was just like, there's no villain in women's college basketball right now. And I'm just like, but why does there have to be one? Like, when did
Yeah,
that
so
become a thing?
I listened to the full clip because,
Yep.
I gotta listen to the whole thing, so I can form my full opinion because people do that to us,
Mm-hmm.
and basically, he was trying to say I understood what he was trying to say in the sense where he was like, Juju first of all, wait, let's back it up. Juju not getting the same hype as Caitlin Clark. Juju is getting a lot of hype.
She was
So
on
I
a
don't know what he's
Nike
talking about.
commercial during the Super Bowl. What more do you need? What more do you
I don't
want? Like,
yeah,
what?
I don't know what he's talking about there, but as far as the good girl, bad girl thing, I think he was more so referring to something that we talk about all the time, and it was the media narrative that Caitlin Clark is this angel that needed to be saved from Angel Reese, Flau'jae, the villains, the bad girls, and because they don't have that, the bad girls in college basketball right now, people aren't quote unquote paying attention, which is like,
Please.
uh-huh.
But I said it before. The media coverage the last 2 years was full of shit because there is high level basketball being played still. And LSU is still very good. And Flau'jae is still on that team. So she, to me, doesn't exude that energy anyway, like at all. Like Flau'jae is like a very upbeat, positive person
That's what I think.
from
I
what
was like,
I've
she's not
seen.
a villain.
Yeah, like she doesn't really give villain energy. But I also don't think Angel Reese like. has that energy either. I think that's how she plays. Just her style of play is just very aggressive compared to the counterpart, which is more
Well,
um
yes,
like
that
three pointers and all that kind
passive.
of stuff.
What I was gonna say about that is I think what Cam Newton's getting at is a deeper conversation, and the reason why what he said came off a little bit annoying is because he didn't quite go there, and that's that Angel Reese didn't ask to be a villain. She was made to be a villain, and she just embraced it, which was smart of her, but she did this. That isn't villain behavior. She didn't punch Caitlyn in the face. Like,
Right.
it's and I talked about this on TikTok. It's this honestly, I'm gonna make it a race issue. Oh my god, come at me. But it's this narrative of like the white girl that needs to be saved and the black person that's the victim, and then everybody falls in love with this person because they're like, "Oh my gosh, everyone's so mean to you. I'm gonna support you." And then everybody falls in love with it, which is exactly what happened last year. I think it felt so much bigger and so much polarizing because political figures were talking about Angel, and the Barstool guy was calling
Yep.
Angel a classless piece of shit, and it became this bigger conversation. Whereas, is it a bad thing that we don't have that? No, Juju's making money. Her face is everywhere. She's getting the hype, and she's not getting treated the way Angel was or the way Caitlyn was because I don't envy that either.
Exactly. Because I don't yeah, I think they both were put in a awful situation for being 21 and 22 years old. So I don't think that either one of them, like you said, I don't envy either one of their situations. I think they've both handled it in their own ways, and I think they've both handled it extremely well considering how young they are. But also saying that, I'm just like, Cam Newton, how many games have you been to? How many games have you been to? How many tickets have you bought? For you to be just sit there and be comfortable speaking so openly about it, like, I appreciate the interest, but I just feel like that in a nutshell is just, like, what is going on. Like, people have so much to say about it, but, like, they don't go to games, they don't buy tickets, they don't buy merch, like, so what exactly is your reasoning for speaking on it for so much if you, quote, unquote, "don't really like it that much," but all y'all do is talk about it?
Yeah, outside of that, it's like part of the problem is the fact that people like Cam Newton with these big platforms are speaking on it in the sense it's the same thing that was kinda happening at the with the NBA at the beginning of the season, where it's if you're gonna talk about it, don't keep perpetuating this narrative that it's doing so bad because XYZ or nobody's watching because XYZ. That does nothing for the
Yeah,
game.
like, look at the
If
numbers this year. They're still high as hell.
I
Viewership.
agree that rivalries bring ratings in sports. That's the reason we were talking about this and we got torn up about the NBA's profit issue and how the way the NBA became profitable was because of
The
the Bird
rivalry.
Magic
Yeah.
rivalry. So rivalries do bring ratings, but there are still rivalries in women's basketball is my whole point. You could market USC, UCLA. That was a
Mhm.
rivalry. Why aren't you talking about that? Juju did have a rival.
Top 5
And then
teams the entire season. That is
right,
the definition of a rivalry that y'all coulda hyped up any way y'all wanted to, and y'all chose not to.
right.
And now you're
So it's like
like, "What? Good girl, bad girl." No, how about really talented group of players, another really talented group of players that are beating up on each other the entire season. That rivalry was they did a disservice to that rivalry this season because it was so good, and we haven't seen a USC and UCLA team, both of them being this good in a long time. So, I think the media dropped the ball for sure on that rivalry this
but you know
entire
what?
season.
Hear me out, Lexie. Let me say the quiet part out loud. Hear me out, Lexie. Follow me here.
Okay.
When I'm thinking about the good girl, bad girl thing, right? Follow me. What made Angel Reese a bad girl, quote unquote, was this, which I wouldn't even qualify as trash talking. This is really just whatever. But if you want to call
It's
it trash talking, it's trash
literally
talking.
John Cena. Can we please? Everybody.
Right. So what made Angel Reese a villain and Caitlyn a victim was this good girl, bad girl. But then we have this year. When I think of the trash talkers that are left, that are the popular girls, I think of Haley Van Lith, she's a trash talker
Hannah
for sure.
Hidalgo,
Right. Paige Beckers, she talks
she be
trash,
running her
right?
mouth.
So
Yes.
why aren't they bad girls? Right. But Juju is more chill and she doesn't even really get it into the mix like that. Like she just goes out and plays and her
She
game
be
speaks for herself.
chilling.
But you're not calling her a good girl. So why can't
Why can't
like
it
they
be
might play each other in the NBA.
flip-flops?
Right. Why can't Juju be a good girl and why can't Paige be a bad girl?
Why can't it be flip? Why can't Juju be the good girl? Exactly.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yes,
ding.
exactly. Like, there can be good girls and bad girls, but y'all don't want y'all want them to be your good girls and bad girls, the way y'all think
Mhm.
of girl, and bad girl. So why is your version of a good girl versus a bad girl just a very stereotypical archetype that we're trying to get out of? It's 2025. What are we doing? Like, what are
Well,
we
they also
still
want it to
talking
be handed
about?
to them. Because in order
Yes.
to know that these rivalries still exist and good girls, bad girls, that these things are still happening, they would actually have to watch the games and not just see a huge blow up like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. They would have to actually have to search for these
Yeah.
rivalries, and they don't wanna do that.
Which even this good girl, bad girl thing, like that wasn't even a thing when they were in college. This good girl thing, that happened because of what happened in the summertime with the rookie stuff. So they're
Yeah.
using what happened just recently and rewriting history a little bit in college because no one was walking around thinking that, oh, poor Caitlyn. Caitlyn was whooping everybody's ass.
And
Like,
she was trash talking like
and she
nobody's
was like the
business.
trash talker that
And she did
everybody loved.
this
Like we all loved it.
first.
She was entertaining as shit. There
Who
was
was it
no
to? Like,
the
she did this before
Louisville
Angel did it.
no, who did it? Someone did it. I think someone did it to her. It was
Was it not Haley
Louisville.
Van Lith?
I think it was Louisville.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did this to
The the
somebody,
the the
and
John Cena thing had been done multiple times throughout the tournament.
right, and
They
then
just
Angel did it. It was kind of like a response because 'cause I'd seen the video of Caitlyn doing it first, and so when
yeah.
the video of Angel blew up, I was like, "Why is this a big deal?" Caitlyn I've already seen Caitlyn do it.
Right, they already did it. We've seen it already by multiple players. So yeah,
Right.
it's just moving the goalposts, but like people are using recency bias to rewrite history because ain't nobody thought they was good girls or bad girls. Like those are just the two teams that were playing at a high level and running through everybody. The defending national champs, of course you're going to talk about them. Where is the energy for South Carolina?
You know
I
what's
am
funny? I wanted
still
to ask you about
at
that.
a loss for words at he even mentioned Don Staley in his little rant.
Right.
I don't really even know what point he was trying to make with that, but he was like, she's unconventional and she's gonna pop her shit and da 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 and people respect her,
Yeah.
which yeah, she's earned that right. But
I took that as he was saying that there's not really like, yeah, she comes out with the fits and the Louis and whatever, but there's not really anything to hang your hat on with her as far as being polarizing or a villain. But there's still why can't Kim Mulkey be the villain coach? I don't understand. Like, I don't like that why are people acting like it's less entertaining? The only thing that's gone is Angel and Caitlyn. It's still entertaining. I don't
it's still
understand. Like,
entertaining. The games have been
my question,
incredible. This season was incredible. Juju has been incredible. What do we
Lexie,
Cam
I have to
Newton,
ask you,
please.
why, when it comes to South Carolina, this has been the case for years.
Years.
Why, when it comes to South Carolina, it's like nobody really talks about the girls on the team. Like Dawn is the face of that team. Nobody talks about the girls that are
I
actually
mean,
playing on
it's
the team.
giving UConn a bit. Like
Real. But
bigger.
Paige,
No one's bigger than the program, right? Paige was a
Paige,
superstar before she got there. So, like cover of Slam and all that kind of stuff out of high school. Like Paige was doing things that no one was doing in high school. In case everybody forgot about that. I know it was a long time ago, but Paige was coming in like on some different type of time. And still decided to go to UConn knowing that people typically aren't bigger than the program. So the fact that she's been able to sustain the celebrity and play at a high level, even though she's been injured, very impressive. The lack of energy for South Carolina. I mean, I think it's like the same thing that we're seeing in the MVP race in the NBA. Like people just get bored with greatness. And I don't know why. Watching someone be great is so fun. It shouldn't inspire you. It should empower you. You shouldn't ever be bored with someone just continuing to be great, especially when they work really hard at it. But yes, Dawn is definitely the face of South Carolina.
but you don't see that with like a LeBron.
I think Asia Wilson is still also the face of South Carolina.
Right, and same with Asia, like, you don't really see that with her, like, people don't get bored with her being great. I don't know who you're referring to. Are you referring to in the NBA Jason Tatum? 'Cause, that's a whole different thing
No,
because
I'm
Jason
talking
Tatum
about
himself is
Jokic.
boring.
I'm talking about Jokic.
Uh, but both of them, they're
Yeah.
boring, like, personas, not coming at y'all, but I'm just saying both
Yeah,
of
not
their
too much on
personas, I mean, both
Jason
of
Tatum.
I
Not
actually really
too
like Jason
much.
Tatum. That's a whole conversation for a whole other day, but I think that, like, what people consider to be boring in an athlete is so unfair,
It's
like
so unfair. Okay, sorry, I'm really good and unproblematic, and I love playing basketball. Sorry, that bores y'all.
I'm sorry, you wanna drag Anthony Edwards into being the face of the NBA, even though he touched down and post a homophobic story, then has
Forgot about that. I forgot
gotten
about that.
17 women pregnant this year, always in trouble, always getting fined for cussing. I don't got a problem with Ant, go Dogs. But, like, my problem is, like, so you wanna make him the face of the NBA, cool, everyone's more drawn to that. Jason Tatum hasn't done nothing
But be great
and win. He's actually
and
won.
win. Unproblematic. He's marketable as hell. He's won championships, stays out of the trouble, respectful, and he plays for like one of the most historic, iconic franchises in the universe of sports. So yeah, we
Well,
are in like
and
a
yeah.
we're in a never-ending moving of goalposts. Like that's what I've boiled it down to that. Like goalposts just get moved constantly and you just kind of have to adapt to that and figure it out. But I mean, even them giving South Carolina the last number 1 seed, it's just like, why? Why? And I hate that
Yeah.
they don't gotta explain. I mean, they're like, "Oh, this is the resume, the strength of schedule, and da 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 da." But okay, like at the end of the day, like the committee, y'all are not robots. Y'all can put anybody wherever y'all want, honestly. So the fact that y'all fixed y'all's little hands when you were writing out the bracket and you made South Carolina the last 1 seed is crazy.
So, do you think that no one's bigger than the program, school slash teams? Like, what do you think is better? Being a no like, I guess it depends on the school and the team that you're working with, but I can't really figure out what would work better because it's like, it does kinda work when there is a face for ratings wise, but as far as winning, Dawn has proved that the nobody's bigger than the program thing is working as far as winning.
Yeah,
Because Caitlyn didn't win. I mean,
no.
Angel won, but
Yeah. For me now, like, I don't really know now because the NIL stuff has just changed everything. People are prioritizing different things, and that's okay. Like, you see, these are the decisions you make when you're a pro, though. Like, do I want to win now, or do I want to get paid now, or do I want to get win now, get and then hopefully when I win, I'll get paid later. Like, you that's not what you were thinking about in college 5 years ago. You were like, "Where can I win? Where can I get the most visibility so I can make it to the next level?" Or if you're not interested in being a pro, "Where can I go to get the best education I can and be in a good environment for my future?" There's, like, so many different things now, moving parts, and people deciding on what schools they're going to and what they're valuing while they're there. So, honestly, like, I don't have an answer for that. And, I can't even name who won the national championship 5 years ago. Honestly,
yeah, I don't know
like,
either.
I think that winning is important. Yes, you wanna have winners on your team, but at the end of the day, only one team can win. So, when you're putting things in prioritization, what you're prioritizing, like, yeah, we're gonna see more players prioritize themselves, and I think that's not good for the whole state of college sports as a whole, but I'm never gonna be mad at these players finally getting what they deserve because of all the money that the NCAA has made off of our blood, sweat, and tears. Okay?
Fair. I mean, it's children in college having to make professional decisions. Like, they're making the decisions you're making, which is
Yeah.
really concerning, but it's
It's crazy. Like, and I struggle with making these decisions now. I'm 30. Like, these girls are 18 and 19. And I mean, I think we always are talking about Haley Van Lith because she's gonna be like the case study of like NIL gone horrible and then back right. Like what
right.
that process looks like for a player, like a really, really good player. So, her being able to find her way after the fact, like, I think, yes, that COVID year saved her because if last year was her last year, she would have been
That's a good
out of
point.
luck. So,
That's a
I'm
good
happy
point.
that she had that additional year to get her career back on track because she deserved that. But that's not gonna be the case. COVID year is over. And I think people forgot about that too. Everybody who was in school at that time got a whole extra year of college. So it kind of like threw everything off its tracks a little bit. But now, like, okay, everyone's back to playing their 4 years of college. This transferring has gotten out of freaking control. And like I don't know what it's gonna look like now because like now we're done with the 5 year players. So we also have never seen that before. Five players getting 5 whole seasons. Because I know
Mhm.
COVID it cut the season short, but 99% of the teams, their seasons were over by the time COVID happened. Y'all wasn't making the tournament. Y'all was gonna lose first round in y'all conference your season was done. So yes, I felt horrible for those players that really had a chance to win a national championship or win a conference championship and that got cut short. Absolutely feel bad for them. But the season was over. So that extra year to me, I was like, y'all lucked out with that one because y'all played an entire season of basketball before COVID hit.
Well, my sister was getting recruited last year, and it was like, as far as recruiting goes for incoming freshmen, they kinda got screwed with
Mhm.
schools being
My
like,
sister
"Why
was
would
one of
we
them
not just get
too.
somebody out of the portal or keep a senior we already have who already knows our system
Yeah.
and get a freshman and group?" Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So they really got screwed.
I mean, and it's trickling down now too. Like even now without the COVID year now. And like it's just trickling down.
The transfer portal is bad.
I feel so bad for high school kids. And now even with them possibly changing the junior college rule and eligibility stuff. Like what do they want these high school kids to do? Like,
Yeah.
and even for us, like our tournament, yeah, we typically have like our Sweet 16 Elite Eight are typically from like the Power Five conferences. Like that's not new in women's basketball. But I'm pretty sure I saw a graphic today that said the men, they only have representation from 4 conferences. So, they're like, "The Cinderella era is over," which, I mean, technically, like, Cinderellas is like a rare thing. Like, you're not supposed to have a lot of Cinderellas anyway because that's why they call them Cinderellas because 'cause they're not supposed to be there.
Exactly.
But, I mean, it's changing the landscape of everything, like we said in our last episode or whatever episode maybe with Elizabeth was how people are gonna start gravitating to these 4 conferences and these mid-major, low major schools are gonna become like pipelines, like the new prep
Now
schools.
I will say we have a lot to get into, so I'm gonna segue a little bit because I have to hear your thoughts on the top 10 the Fox Sports top
Oh
10
my god.
all-time women's college basketball players. I'm gonna read the list for our audience before you give your thoughts, just for people who are listening who haven't seen the list quite yet. It's a doozy. So,
Yeah.
in the number 1 spot or should I start at 10? Okay,
Yeah, go
at
10.
10, they've got Lynette Woodard. 9, sorry. They have Asia sorry. I hadn't really seen behind beyond the top 5. In the 9th spot, they have Asia Wilson. In the 8th spot, they have Candace Parker.
Stop
7,
it.
Brittany
Stop
Griner.
the list. It gets worse, guys. It gets worse.
6, Maya Moore.
Please. Like, huh?
And 5th, Shamik Holdsclaw.
Okay.
And 4th, Cheryl Miller. And 3rd, Diana Taurasi. And 2nd, Caitlin Clark. And in 1st, Brianna Stewart.
We're gonna go. Okay, let's start with this. All 10 of those players are deserving to be in conversations of some of the best college basketball players that we've ever seen. Okay, we're gonna start there. There's a lot of those. It's not just 10 of
You
them.
go, Lexie, because when we get clipped, they not including that.
Yeah, they're not including that. So when they go watch it, we can be like, no, they're all so amazing and whatever. Like, that's how I feel about lists. They're dumb. They're stupid, and they're only made to get responses and reactions and bickering from people. And that's exactly what Fox when was the last time they posted anything women's basketball related, let alone giving us an entire top 10 women's college basketball players list in the middle of the NCAA tournament? All these amazing things happening within the tournament of current players, and this is what you decide to drop in the middle of March Madness. Fox, please. Please be serious for once in your life and stop trying to make everybody argue about women's college basketball every freaking day of the year. Maya Moore, you know what? I could go on a really long tangent about this list. Maya Moore being at 6 is all I needed to see that that list was bullshit. Like 6?
Also, I realized I didn't read the honorable mentions: Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, Elena Del Don, Cheryl Swoops, and Rebecca Lobo.
Like, honestly, they, like, coulda kept like, they coulda kept that on a they, like, coulda kept that because what is even the point of that?
My sister, like, rants about this all the time, and I've never said this in public, but can we stop acting like Caitlin Clark won a championship? She didn't. I'm not a hater. I love Caitlin.
Well, yeah, I wrote it down, no. In that top 5, Breonna Stewart, 4-time champ. Diana Taurasi, 2-time national champion. Cheryl Miller, 2-time national champ. Shamika Holdsclaw, 3-time national champ. And then Maya Moore at 6, 2-time national champion. I feel like to be as one of the greats, you have to win a national championship. Like, that's the first. Because if we're talking about scoring, then you gotta throw Kelsey Mitchell in there. Because you have the other 2 scorers. You have Plum in the honorable mention, and you got Caitlin in the top 5. Where's Kelsey Mitchell?
That's a good point.
I'm tired of the
I
Kelsey
also
Mitchell
feel like
disrespect. Imma say that. I say it all the time.
I also feel like
It's
in any
disrespectful.
men's sport, they would never put somebody who has not won a championship in the top 10 ever.
No.
Like, on any platform, on any list, they
I
would
will
never
say
put somebody who's never won a championship.
I might have seen a list with, like, a Jimmer Fredette on there. I don't know, I might have made that up, but, like, every time college who like, great college anything, Jimmer Fredette is always thrown in there, and now that I'm thinking about it, like, Caitlin Clark is, like, our Jimmer Fredette, low key, but
Yeah,
she won, I think I don't even know, like, what like, he did in his conference and all that stuff, but, like, when the tournament came around, everyone was like, "It's Jimmer Fredette time, like, it's time to watch Jimmer in the tournament." So, yeah, I don't know, like, she's top 5, top 10 and something, but, like, all time, like, these are 1, like, 2, 3, 4-time national champs that we have in this list. These are 3, 4-time player of the years,
and I'm
like
sorry, especially since women have more time. Like, in the men's if you go to the NBA, you only got 1 year for men. So I understand their list being a little more murky.
yeah, so their list looks different than a women's list.
If you don't win a championship, that's on you. You had plenty of opportunity, you're not on the list. I'm sorry. If the list was the most influential, cool.
Oh,
The most
absolutely.
impactful, cool, fine.
Best scorers we've
Best,
seen, okay,
but
but
no,
greatest
not best
of
ever.
all
Yeah.
time? Like I said, this is no disrespect to anybody on this list whatsoever. The list is extremely valid, but y'all lost me at Maya Moore being number 6. That's really
Yeah.
where y'all lost me at, honestly, and then I didn't care about the rest of the list after that. So, I'm like, I know she been gone for a while, guys, but come on now. Just watch some Maya Moore highlights, please. All you need to watch is about a minute of them.
Do you agree that Stewie is the best though, than at number 1?
See, but that's the thing about this list. I don't know what the requirements to get on the list was, because you
That's a good
have
point.
4-time player of the year, 4-time national champion at 1, and then you have
But based on
someone
your assessment, like, based on what you think would make the greatest women's
oh, yeah,
college
if I
basketball
were
player
to, like,
ever.
make my own list, yeah, Stewie would be 1, based on
Okay.
her play, her accolades, like, she's, like,
I agree.
consensus
I think that's the
1.
only thing that made sense on the whole
Yeah,
thing,
like,
was
she's
that she was number
consensus
1.
number 1 as far as, like, college player. I feel like even sometimes people let, like, people's pro careers affect how we talk about people's college careers, which has for me, for example, has worked in the opposite way. They look at my pro career and they're like, "Oh, you must have been trash in college too then." But, like,
No, she
no, I
wasn't.
wasn't. I'm not trash now, okay, guys? But, like, I definitely wasn't trash in college, but it works both ways. So yeah, shout out to my follower. I sometimes, you gotta peek into your request, see what's going on in there. This guy sent me the list and he was like, I want you to talk about this on Gills. And I was like, no, I'm gonna talk about it on mine because I don't want
Yeah.
to talk to them about this. So yeah, shout out to Homeboy and my request. I appreciate you sending me this list because I did not see it. And when he sent it to me, I said, oh yeah, we definitely need to talk about this. I think another thing I wanted to mention was the amount of commercials that we've seen everybody in. I haven't seen any boy hoopers in any of these commercials except for Cooper Flag, and the rest has been the girly pops. I have
To
been
be fair, I don't know who really any of them are, so
I've been living for these commercials. It's Juju, then it's Paige, then it's Flau'jae, then it's the South
that's why I
Carolina
don't
team.
that's why I don't understand why people are saying that they're not getting hype or people don't know them or that it fell
Like,
off or
huh?
because I'm like, I don't really know. I've said this 7 million times who the men's players are right now. No offense, but I know like plenty of like if I think if you ask people to name 5 college basketball players, women's and men's, they will be able to name 5 women before they can name 5 men.
For sure.
The average person on the street.
Or you name 5 players still playing in the tournament right now. Like, it's like, why are they trying to, like, stir the pot? Like, what kind of
Yes.
agendas are they gonna get out of like, what agendas are they trying to push? Like a Cam Newton and all them. Like, how do you
Well,
benefit in your conversation, and how do you think we benefit if you want us to have these weird rivalries that have nothing to do with basketball?
it's the same thing that Stephen A. Smith does on First Take. They have to mention women's college basketball, right? They have to mention women's basketball, and they don't know what's actually going on the court. Therefore, they pull out a little hot topic discourse, which always has something to do with Caitlin Clark, and then they talk about that so they could check it off their butt. Okay, we mentioned women's basketball. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We can move on. That's the reason why,
I mean,
because that's all they know how to talk
that's
about.
all they know how to talk about. And we said it earlier in the show, like, we don't what is happening to Caitlin Clark on the other side of this is also not okay. Like, I don't like, leave her alone. Like, I know we
Right.
talk about her, but like, we talk about her because we think she's amazing and she's such a great player. And now she's in my sisterhood. And this is a WNBA women's college basketball show. And for some reason, nobody knows how to talk about women's basketball without mentioning her or Angel, which I think that's a credit to them because how impactful they were. But to say that this I mean, we said there has been a lack of narratives, there's been a lack of storylines, but like, y'all the media. I mean, I wouldn't call Cam media. He does like what I do. But like, the big media platforms, like, y'all have all the resources and energy in the world to push these narratives the way you want to, and y'all have chosen to not push any, really. And now you're complaining. I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. And now even with the hot takes think pieces, they're doing it with the men's game now too. Now everything's, oh, NIL is ruining basketball and the transfer portal is ruining basketball instead of just talking about the games. So it's happening
People are
everywhere.
getting lazy.
It's giving
Speaking of a hot topic
lazy.
issue, though,
Oh.
I wanna know, your thoughts on, Juju and Jada Daniels
See,
chopping it up.
I don't have any thoughts about it, because it's none of my freaking business. But the fact that they had an entire segment dedicated to it on TV was weird.
I thought that was so because I wanted to know what everybody was talking about because this morning when I logged back on from being off the grid this weekend, that's the first thing I kept seeing, and I was like, "That and the damn 4 a.m. morning routine," which is a whole other conversation, but you're off Twitter. Have you seen that?
Girl, no, I'm living in a Lexie La La Land bubble, and it's been so great. The only reason why I saw
Oh
the Holly Rowe
god.
thing was because my friend sent it to me.
Well, I'll send you the morning routine, and we'll get into that next week. But basically, I kept seeing things about Juju, and they were like, basically insinuating that she was flirting with him or, like I did see one tweet that was funny that was like, "Juju don't even open her eyes on the court, she wanna see him, she got her eyes open for him." That sent me to the moon. But imagine being a college girl and you're, like, talking to a guy, I don't even know if she was flirting with him, I don't know what their situation is, and people are videoing it and, like, analyzing you.
Not even video,
No.
like, this was not, like, someone's iPhone thing that's like, you know how people, like, randomly post things? This was, like, the 4K ESPN cameras all in they mouth, all in they face. Like, y'all
Granted, those are
are
2 of the
rude.
biggest young athletes out right now, but
And now
okay, the
y'all wanna
big thing
play
that came out of it
matchmaker, you weirdos. What are we
but Lexie,
doing?
you know that's not why the clip has gone viral, so I have to ask you about the mama. Did you see that?
Oh, when she sat in between them?
Yes. Did you think
Oh.
that was weird? Like, because okay, for context, for those listening, because we're going off on a tangent, and I don't know if everybody knows what we're talking about. So basically, a clip of Juju and Jaden Daniels came out of the game. It based on what the ESPN camera saw, it's not my fault I saw it. It was giving googly eyes. You know, they were talking real intently. And then the next clip is his mom coming to sit down and sits in between them, and Juju's looking unbothered and uninterested and looking at the game or whatever. So everybody has been kind of saying his mom won't let anybody around him, basically because his mom, I think when he was being drafted,
Isn't she his manager? Isn't she his
I don't
agent?
know, but she's
She's
really
very
wow.
momager. She's momager.
Yeah. She was asked what she was the most afraid of with him being a professional, and she said girls. She said, "There's a girl at home right now with a Jaden Daniels poster, and she just thinks she's gonna get him, but nobody's getting my son." So that's why people were like, she
Ooh.
won't let any girls, not even Juju around her son. But I don't know if it was like that. Because,
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
if you want
saying,
anyone
because,
around
like,
your son,
okay, the context of it, like, it absolutely could be harmless, and it could not be harmless, but again, like I said,
none of
it's
our
none of
business.
our business. So, yes, the fact that the mom already has that reputation and she's vocally said, "Ain't nobody getting my baby." If she didn't do that, everyone would be like, "Oh, so it's cap." She had to stand on business in that moment in time because
To be fair, she's right to be scared. So, not of Juju, but, like,
oh,
generally.
yeah, it's treacherous out here. It's
Yeah.
treacherous out here, but
If
yeah,
anything, the reason I think that it was harmless is because if there's anybody you don't need to be worried about being around your son, it's a woman who is already a professional athlete herself, already a millionaire herself at 19, and
got the whole
she
world
don't
looking
need
at
nothing
her.
from your son.
Right, look
Right.
at
She
the
don't need nothing
whole
from
world
him.
looking at her. But
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to the cameraman who captured that because what was it during a game? It was during a game, like,
Yeah.
was it going into commercial break?
And Cam Newton tried to say nobody cares about Juju.
Cam, we don't play about that girl. The world does not play about Juju. I think circling back to this good girl, bad girl, da 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 da. Like, I think we're finally at a place in women's basketball, finally, where people are just simply appreciating the way that we play basketball as women. And we haven't always gotten that respect. Like, people genuinely enjoy watching Juju play basketball. And I think that's how it was with Caitlyn too. People really love watching her hoop. I remember I when I first started watching her when she was a freshman at Iowa, I loved watching her play basketball. And I feel that way about a lot of people who hoop, men and women, cuz I just love watching good basketball. So I'm glad that like when he says something like that, people are just kind of like what are you even talking about? Like why can't you just appreciate Juju for the amazing player that she is and the fact that everybody likes watching her. And I think that's like gonna be the next stepping stone for us in women's basketball is this division. We don't want it. We don't want that. That's not what like the WNBA stands for. It's not what these universities stand for. Sports is the great uniter. And for some reason, the people are working overtime for it to like do the opposite when sports is what brings people together, all types of people together. And I think that's a heavy crown for Juju to wear. So we will protect her at all costs. Okay, Juju, get behind us because we're not gonna let these crazy people put their weird narratives on you that you do not deserve because all you do is put your head down and work. and win.
Well, I'll say that's one of the nice things about the Juju Page era, like post Angel Caitlyn, is that nobody's really trying to make it about anything,
We were talking about it like a fucking war.
right?
The
Right? I
post
mean, it was.
it was a war. We had to fight for
It
our
was.
lives to make it through last summer, man.
But, well, I think that honestly, an unpopular opinion, I know it was really hard for both of them, but at the end of the day, I think that it was a good thing for women's sports in general, not just basketball. So now, okay, how do we take that momentum and move it into the next era? I think the best possible thing is a Juju who's not really in the media for anything other than damn talking to Jada Daniels and being on Nike commercials, and a Paige who, yeah, she talks her shit, blah, blah, blah. But she, again, like you said, she's been a celebrity since high school. So people are going to pay attention to them regardless for how they perform on the court.
Yeah.
So that is a good thing for that to be the next step. I don't
Yeah.
think we need to be complaining because it's not controversial or
Drama,
a fight.
controversy, yes, that controversy sells, yes, but so does good basketball. And if you guys were watching any of these games this weekend, those arenas were filled, honey. It was so
Yeah.
beautiful to see all these people coming out to support women's basketball this year. And I know the summer is going to be lit. This tournament is lit. The Final Four is going to be lit. I'm so excited that we get to go.
That's what I was gonna conclude with. Y'all, if you're still listening, that means you love us. So you need to come out to the Final Four because I believe we'll be doing a live taping, and me and Lexie will be there, and it'll be a lot of fun. So
Yeah, come
Tampa,
hang. Come
be
hang
there,
with
be
us in
square.
Tampa. Come hang with us in Tampa and tap into this podcast live and in person. Thanks for sticking with us today. It was a long one, but it was a fun one. So we will see y'all next week at Full Circle Podcast.
Bye.